Today I have collected for you incredible evidence about one of the most mysterious planets in our history, Nibiru. For those of you who don't know, Nibiru is a mysterious planet that has been the subject of legends for many years. According to some theories, it appears once every few thousand years and brings chaos with it, natural disasters, time distortion, and even influence on human consciousness. This year, a message appeared on one of the closed forums dedicated to exploring the unknown, which caused a real shock among its participants. An anonymous user shared information that had never been published before. His words sounded like a bolt from the blue. The planet Nibiru, which was considered only a theory, actually exists and threatens the Earth. The user claimed to have worked for NASA and had access to secret research that was deliberately kept away from the public. According to him, back in the 90s, scientists began to record unusual anomalies in the orbit of the Earth and the Moon. Initially, they attributed it to technical errors or equipment deficiencies, but the phenomena continued to repeat year after year. By 2012, it was already clear that the problem was not with the instruments, but with something much more serious. It turned out that there was a huge celestial body on the edge of the solar system that had never been seen before. At first, it was not considered a serious threat, but after a deeper analysis, everything became clear. It was Nibiru, a planet that had previously existed only in theories. Its massive gravitational field began to gradually affect the Earth. According to the user, Nibiru is so strong that our planet undergoes large-scale changes when it approaches. Since 2017, the first signs of this impact have already been observed: a sharp increase in magnetic storms, changes in the orbits of satellites, and anomalies in weather conditions that could not be explained by natural phenomena. But this was only the first stage of the process, and much more serious consequences are yet to come. The most alarming information was about the impact of Nibiru not only on physical objects but also on the human psyche. Users reported an increase in the number of mental disorders in regions with high magnetic activity. People suffered from hallucinations, nightmares, and strange visions. They described how they dreamed of things they had never seen before, and in real life they felt invisible pressure. In some areas, cases of mental disorders have risen to unprecedented levels. Yet no government in the world has disclosed these facts to the general public. All information leaks were immediately classified. NASA and other space agencies were well aware of the threat, but remained silent, not wanting to cause mass panic. According to forecasts, Nibiru's gravitational influence continues to grow, and according to an insider, by 2030, humanity may face serious disasters. These potential catastrophes include not only earthquakes or tsunamis, but also global pole shifts, massive volcanic eruptions, and a complete change in the climate on the planet. These phenomena can become irreversible, and their scale will be such that humanity will be on the verge of survival. But this was not the only disturbing aspect of the message. The user also talked about closed experiments conducted in secret laboratories. Scientists tried to simulate the effects of the approaching Nibiru using advanced technologies, but the results were so shocking that all the materials were immediately classified. According to an insider, these experiments showed that the possible consequences would be much more serious than originally anticipated. The data obtained from space stations and satellites were particularly impressive. Astronauts orbiting the Earth noticed strange energy waves coming from the direction of Nibiru. In their radio communications, the astronauts mentioned mysterious light phenomena around the stations, as well as short-term time disturbances. This gave rise to theories about the possible impact of Nibiru on the very structure of reality, although official sources denied this information. The user warned that the next few years would be crucial for the Earth. If Nibiru continues to approach, catastrophic changes on the planet will become irreversible. Gravitational anomalies will intensify, which could lead to the destruction of the natural balance. According to the insider, humanity is not ready for such large-scale changes, and if the world's governments do not act, the consequences could be fatal. His message left the forum participants horrified. Can this be trusted, or is this another leak of information that is being hidden from the public? Despite this, the story continues to live on among those who seek to uncover the truth. In 2012, the world watched another predicted end of the world. Amidst this hype, which was spreading through social media and the media, the scientific community remained generally calm. Astronomers, geologists, climatologists, and other experts assured the public that no global catastrophes were expected. However, far from the public eye, in the snowy expanse of Antarctica, events were taking place that could change the course of history. At a time when most people were discussing the Mayan calendar and predictions of the end of the world, the Galileo research station recorded phenomena that made its team seriously consider the future of the planet. Galileo, one of the most remote and secretive scientific bases on Earth, was monitoring space phenomena that could affect our world. It was located at the very edge of Antarctica, in a place where nothing but ice and snow could distract from space observations. The team's main tasks included measuring gravitational waves, monitoring magnetic storms, and observing distant celestial bodies. In the summer of 2012, everything went according to plan. The team studied the usual space anomalies that arose either from magnetic storms on the Sun or from the movement of comets flying near the Earth. But one day, the instruments detected weak fluctuations in the gravitational field. It was nothing out of the ordinary. This had happened before, especially when meteor showers or small celestial bodies pass through space. However, these fluctuations gradually became more intense and regular. At first, this did not cause much concern. The scientific team, led by Dr. Sarah Morgan, thought it could be instrumentation errors or temporary space anomalies. However, with each passing day, the fluctuations increased and it no longer looked like something random. When the gravitational fluctuations reached their peak in a few weeks, it became clear that the cause of this phenomenon could not be due to ordinary cosmic events. Concerned about the strange signals, Dr. Morgan decided to conduct further research. After careful analysis of the data, it turned out that the phenomenon was caused by the presence of a huge celestial body at the edge of the solar system. This celestial body was not like any of the known planets. At first, it seemed that its size was so gigantic that it aroused suspicion. A planet or star of this size should not have existed in this part of space. The team decided to investigate further, but their instruments could not provide a clear image or detailed information. The unknown object remained at a distance, and its orbit was too far away for it to have a direct impact on Earth. However, theoretical models built by the team indicated that this object could be part of the solar system and affect the gravitational field of the planets, including Earth. Sarah Morgan knew that their discovery could change a lot of things in the way we understand the cosmos, but she was also aware of the possible consequences if this information became public. She sent the data to NASA, hoping to get confirmation or refutation of her guesses. She felt that the answer came too quickly. The information was classified, and the team was ordered to stop all research immediately. It was strange. Neither NASA nor any other organization offered any explanation. Scientists were forbidden to discuss the anomalies, and it was even noted that further attempts to investigate the phenomenon could have serious consequences. For Sarah Morgan, this was incomprehensible. She had been doing scientific research all her life and understood that science should not be confined to secrets. She couldn't just give up. One night, when the rest of the team was sleeping, Sarah made a copy of all the data on a personal USB stick, hoping that one day this information would be released. A few days after the data was classified, the situation at the station began to change. Gravitational fluctuations became even more intense, and unusual magnetic storms were added to them. The station began to suffer from constant power failures. The aurora borealis, which had always been a wonderful sight for the team, now flashed with such intensity that their brightness was frightening. Sky observations were becoming increasingly difficult due to the intense storms, and the magnetic field seemed to be spiraling out of control. Dr. Morgan and her team began to lose control of the situation. All efforts to restore the stability of the instruments were in vain, and the failures were becoming more and more serious. Suddenly, another message came from NASA. It contained only an order to evacuate the station immediately. No explanation was given. The team was confused, but clearly understood that these were not just random anomalies, but something more. When the rescue helicopter arrived at the station a few days later for evacuation, the sight of the station shocked everyone. Scientists had left all their belongings behind, radio equipment was switched off, and computers had been wiped clean. All the data that could have provided answers to the questions simply disappeared. The only thing left was a strange inscription on the wall in the laboratory. "Nibiru is coming." This message looked like a last warning before something unknown. The team disappeared without a trace. No explanation, no trace. It was as if they had simply vanished into thin air. National and international agencies announced the disappearance of the scientists, but no information was released to the media. The case was quickly classified, and the families of the missing scientists were given minimal information. A few months after the disappearance of the Galileo team, information about the unusual discovery began to leak onto the internet. Anonymous sources claimed that scientists had indeed discovered a new planet, and that this planet was approaching Earth. Many linked this to Nibiru, a mythical planet that was supposed to destroy the Earth. The questions kept growing, but the answers, as always, were hidden behind 7 locks. Who knows what really happened at the Galileo station and whether Nibiru really threatens our world? In 2003, a U.S. military satellite detected something that had long remained a mystery, even to the highest levels of government. This object was moving outside the solar system, and its behavior was so unusual that it attracted the attention of the world's largest space agencies. The unknown celestial body detected by the satellite was incredibly large, and its gravitational impact was worrying. Realizing that this could be an extremely serious threat, scientists immediately sprang into action. Since then, one of the most secret operations in history, Shadow of Nibiru, has been launched. The official version that was presented to the public was that this object did not exist. No evidence, no confirmed data. However, completely different events were taking place within government circles. An expedition to one of Mars's moons, Phobos, was organized under the code name Shadow of Nibiru. This place was chosen for research because of its remoteness and strategic convenience. However, the purpose of the expedition remained strictly classified, and even among those involved in its organization, few knew all the details. The team of astronauts was tasked with investigating the impact of the mysterious celestial body on outer space, and discovering whether its gravitational fields could actually change the orbits of the planets. The expedition set off with state-of-the-art equipment and a carefully hidden goal. Everything went according to plan. The team successfully reached the orbit of Phobos and began research, but from the very first days of the mission, unexplained anomalies began to occur. The instruments began to record strange energy bursts that did not fit into any known physical laws. At first, the astronauts thought it might be ordinary cosmic radiation or temporary equipment malfunctions, but the phenomena repeated with frightening regularity. With each passing hour, the situation became more and more alarming. A few days after arriving in Phobos' orbit, the team noticed changes in the satellite itself. Lifeless and cold, Phobos suddenly began to emit anomalous signals. They were not associated with known phenomena. The flashes of light that appeared in space had no apparent cause. The astronauts observed energy distortions surrounding them, as if the reality itself was changing around them. Dark and empty outer space became a place for unexplained phenomena that no one could explain. Meanwhile, reports of the crew's loss of orientation began to arrive on Earth. Astronauts reported that their navigation devices were no longer working properly. The space around them was changing so much that their instruments were showing different coordinates every few seconds. The mission commander transmitted an alarming message to Earth. Time is changing around us. We can feel it physically. It's impossible, but we can feel something distorting everything around us. This was the last major warning before communication with the team became intermittent. The last messages from the crew were even more frightening. One of the astronauts claimed to have seen something that couldn't be there. Flashes of light that appeared and disappeared into the void, as if another dimension was opening up before them. A few minutes after that, the connection was cut off completely. Earth services tried to re-establish contact, but to no avail. The crew, who had gone on one of the most secret missions in history, simply disappeared. The official version, which was later presented by governments, was that the mission had failed due to technical malfunctions and the ship had been destroyed in an accident. However, no wreckage or traces of the crash were ever found. For the public, this became another space mystery that the military and space agencies tried to hush up. None of the officials could explain what really happened to the crew. All mission records were classified. What remained unknown to the world began to gradually surface a few years later. In 2009, 6 years after the mission disappeared, something happened that seemed impossible. One of the astronauts suddenly got in touch. His voice was weak but clear. He delivered a short and frightening message. "We were not where you think we were. We are not dead, but we cannot return." This seemed absolutely impossible, as the entire crew had long been presumed dead. After that, the connection was cut off again, and no one heard from the astronaut. The U.S. government immediately classified all information related to Operation Shadow of Nibiru. No official comments were made. However, over time, information began to leak out. Scientists working on the study of space anomalies began to put forward theories about what might have happened. Some of them suggested that the crew had encountered a time and space curvature caused by the gravitational influence of the mysterious planet Nibiru. Nibiru, previously considered only a myth or a distant theory, may have had the ability not only to bend the gravitational fields around it, but also to influence the very fabric of reality. This would explain the strange phenomena observed by astronauts and their mysterious disappearance. The theory of time and space curvature became the main version of what could have happened. These phenomena were new to science, and few people knew how they could affect human perception and navigation devices. In addition, it was noticed that after these events, the U.S. military significantly increased its investment in research into space anomalies and mysterious space phenomena. This has added weight to the assumption that Nibiru is indeed a threat that surpasses all previously known dangers. What really happened to the crew? Were they transported to another dimension, or were they drawn into a space-time warp from which there is no way out? And what is Nibiru, the planet that was considered only a theory, but turned out to be real? No one knows the exact answer. However, it is becoming increasingly clear that the mysterious planet may be much closer and more dangerous than humanity has ever imagined.